Reason number 1. I don't put a lot of stock in the ratings, but on Rotten Tomatoes, Suicide Squad is the worst rated DCEU film, whether you look at the critics or the audience. Wonder Woman is number 1 with 92% from critics and 89% from the audience. Man of Steel is number 2 with 55% from critics and a 75% audience score. Batman v Superman got 27% from critics and 63% from the audience. And Suicide Squad is dead last with 26% from critics and 61% from the audience. Reason number 2. So far, the DCEU has just as much star power as the MCU, but in comparison to Marvel, they've missed the mark. A lot of this falls on the director, but the actors are forgivable. Russell Crowe's Jor-El, Kevin Costner's Papa Kent, and Shannon Zod actually shine in their supporting roles, and I don't remember these folks being the problem with Man of Steel. In Batman v Superman, a lot of fans argued that Affleck gave us the best Bruce Wayne we've seen to date, which is surprising seeing how fans wanted to hang Warner Brothers for the casting choice, just like they did with Gal Gadot, who later made them take back their criticism. In Suicide Squad, Warner Brothers has the Oscar-winning Will Smith, Jared Leto, Viola Davis, and the list goes on. When the film ends, you don't know anything more about these characters than when the movie began. Reason number 3. So far, Suicide Squad had the worst direction we've seen in a DCEU film. That's a bold statement for a franchise that's had Zack Snyder direct 2 out of 4 of their films. The characters have nothing to do but walk most of the time. And it seems like David Ayer couldn't decide on making a movie for adults or a younger audience, so it comes off as a mess. After the film's release, Ayer even publicly stated that he wished he would have done some of the elements differently. Duh. Reason number 4. Say what you want about Marvel versus DC, but on paper, DC has some of the best villains and heroes in the world. In Man of Steel, the introduction of the Last Son of Krypton is iconic, and probably one of the best scenes in the movie. When the DCEU introduces Wonder Woman, it does a lot to erase female stereotypes in Hollywood and show the audience women can be just as tough as men. You know straight out the gate you're not going to get your grandpa's Caped Crusader in Batman v Superman. He's a lunatic that takes the law into his own hands, and he's just as crazy as the villains. In Suicide Squad, they download some League Gothic font and type the hell out of their character introductions. I kid you not, this goes on for 15 minutes and 9 seconds. The only character they leave out is the Joker. To their credit, Marvel isn't the best when it comes to villains either, but at least DC got the villain right in Man of Steel. Zod is pissed over the democide of Kryptonians. I get it. Ares is the god of war, which explains why he wants to start a war. Lex is jealous. I don't like it, but I get it. In Suicide Squad, I'm extremely confused. Joker is just crazy. Crazy for no reason villains went out in the 90s. Even in The Dark Knight, they gave Joker a motive. This Joker's character development is thinner than his girlfriend. Reason number 6. With all the things that people complain that the DCEU gets wrong, I do feel like the world they created is believable. I believe a Kryptonian could exist in that universe. Thanks to Batman v Superman, I believe that this Batman would be upset that a Kryptonian exists in this universe. And thanks to Wonder Woman, I could see how an Amazonian goddess could fly under the radar in this universe. The only film that doesn't fit is Suicide Squad. I can't believe that the government would work with criminals before they attempted to make peace with metahumans. And I don't believe that these criminals would stand a chance against some of the villains the universe has to offer. Reason number 7. The worst thing in the DCEU is the flashbacks. It's like these films are unofficial Back to the Future reboots. The non-linear storytelling in Man of Steel is bearable, and I'd much rather have the flashbacks than a full origin story. The same thing goes for Batman. I prefer a flashback during the opening than Warner Brothers giving us a Dark Knight origin story. Technically, Wonder Woman's entire movie is a flashback, so it's no problem. There's flashbacks within flashbacks in Suicide Squad. Like Inception, but with flashbacks. Not cool. Reason number 8. In the words of Captain America,
you're gonna fight a war, you gotta wear a uniform.
The Man of Steel Superman uniform is the best Superman apparel we've gotten to date. The Batman uniform with the little ears looks just like the suit from the comics. And Wonder Woman's,
you got me saying
the hell is that? What the hell is that? The hell is that? What the hell is that? Stop it, please. Stop it right now. Reason number 9. The casualties in the DCEU are up there with Roland Emmerich movies. I like that angle because you feel like people are really in danger. So much people die in Metropolis, so much people die on Capitol Hill, so much people die on Themyscira, but humans don't die from the villain in Midway City. Reason number 10. During the destruction scenes in these movies, all hell breaks loose. Most of Metropolis is destroyed, which is why you see debris everywhere. The same thing happens in Batman v Superman and the small town in Wonder Woman. This is a realistic depiction of what an attack should look like in the DCEU. In Suicide Squad, the entire city is destroyed, and instead of broken concrete or dead bodies everywhere, the only thing we get is water bottles. Reason number 11. Other than Terry Hatcher, I've never liked any of the Lois Lanes. But if it wasn't for this Lois, everyone within a 100-mile radius of Metropolis would have been killed by the World Engine. If it wasn't for Wonder Woman, the Nazis would have bombed America, and if it wasn't for her here, Superman would have died. Earlier, I mean. In Suicide Squad, the women are either crazy or whores, or all of the above. In addition, the DCEU movies have traditionally avoided abuse of women, which is why in Man of Steel, Zod was a gentleman and sent Faora to choke out Clark's mom. And Faora was beat down by gravity instead of a man's fist. In Batman v Superman, no one laid a finger on Wonder Woman, and when she got touched in her movie, the penalty was death. In Suicide Squad, women stay getting knocked out by men. Joker gives Harley shock therapy, Batman punches her, and Slipknot knocks out the woman with the wedgie. Reason number 13. The heroes give a damn about humans even though we make their lives difficult. Clark is arrested and turned over to Zod and his army, but he still fights to protect us.
You can save all of them.
All the chaos in Batman v Superman is caused by Lex, and Clark still saves his life when Doomsday turns on him. Wonder Woman finds out human beings are inherently evil and still gives us a chance in both of these movies. In Suicide Squad, innocent humans are possessed by demons, and what does the Suicide Squad do? Kill them. For a team named Suicide Squad, they sure like killing other people instead of themselves. Boom boom. Speaking of dead characters, each DCEU film has a meaningful death that makes you feel for the character. Clark loses his dad. He blames himself, but it's not his fault. Bruce loses both his parents and blames himself, but he was way too young to do anything about it at the time, so it's not his fault. Diana loses an auntie, and it's clearly not her fault. El Diablo's family dies, and yep, it's his fault. Reason number 15. Daddy issues are responsible for over 80% of all heroes. The words of wisdom or actions of a dad in this cinematic universe could make or break a young child. Clark becomes a hero because of the guidance of his biological father and his earthly father. Bruce becomes a hero because of the death of his father. Diana becomes a hero because her pops is Zeus, and that's what he designed her for. Deadshot is a deadbeat, and instead of him being a hero because of his dad, his daughter is more likely to become a villain because he's the opposite of the previously mentioned fathers. Reason number 16. There's absolutely no redeemable characters in Suicide Squad. In Man of Steel, they managed to get you to side with Zod some of the time. He actually sort of has a point. In Wonder Woman, humans are evil, but Steve shows us we could be heroic at times, and in Batman v Superman, Bruce hates Superman, but he forgives him when he finds out their moms have the same name.
Why did you say that name?
It's his mother's name.
In Suicide Squad, it's hard to cheer for Amanda when she puts innocent people at risk and even kills innocent people sometimes. It's just as tough to cheer for Rick Flag because he sits back idly and lets it happen.
I'm not judging. I buried a lot of mistakes too.
Reason number 17. That makes the movie even less interesting because they risk their lives to save a woman that you hate.
They think we're rescuing Nelson Mandela.
In other movies, the heroes risk their lives to save humanity. Reason number 18. When there's something strange in your neighborhood, who you gonna call? Since the Ghostbusters aren't available, I'd probably just call someone with heat ray vision. Someone who could fly. Someone with $1 billion worth of tactical weaponry. A guy with an armored suit. Call a chick with an enchanted lasso, the list goes on. But I tell you who I won't call. A chick with a baseball bat. Reason number 19. The worst thing about the DCEU movies are the daydream scenes. All heroes have a daydream sequence of an alternate reality if the bad guy gets what they want. The heroes wake up from the daymare because the thought is so unbearable to fathom. The heroes in Suicide Squad enjoy their daymare because their wants are consistent with the villains. Reason number 20. There's a memorable sacrificial death at the end of the quote-unquote better DCEU movies. Colonel Hardy and Professor Hamilton die in the line of duty. It's memorable because they originally saw Clark as a threat, but they risked their lives to fight on his side. Steve dies, and it's memorable because his death is what causes Diane to believe in mankind. Clark dies in Batman v Superman. Even though no one believes he's dead, it's still memorable because it stops Bruce from being prejudiced towards metahumans. El Diablo dies in Suicide Squad, and barely anyone remembers or cares about it. The sad part is that El Diablo wouldn't have had to die if his family would have jumped into the fight.
I lost one family, I ain't gonna lose another one.
In all the movies, there's a spectator that watches on the sideline, but jumps in at the last minute to save a friend. Batman was the spectator in Batman v Superman. He stood on the sidelines, but when they needed him the most, he jumped in to help. Look at how out of breath he is. You could tell he's working hard from the side. In Man of Steel, the professor watches the fight, but his act is the deciding factor in Earth defeating the Kryptonians. In Wonder Woman, Steve and company sit back and let Diana do all the heavy lifting. But as soon as they get an opportunity, they take down the soldiers and Steve steals the explosives. The heroes, for lack of a better synonym, watch their friend get whooped. They watch him for about a minute or two and never jump in to help. Reason number 22. The one thing that's hard to forget in Suicide Squad is the fact that you're watching forgettable characters. We know Superman, we know Batman, we know Wonder Woman, but casual fans didn't know the Suicide Squad at the time of its release. And it's clear that this movie's supposed to be the DCEU's version of the Guardians of the Galaxy. The reason it fails is because they keep putting in popular characters like Batman and Joker, who we already know enough about, and unfortunately they steal the time away from the B team that could have been used for better character development. More than halfway through the movie, you'll realize there's no main character, which is why the story for Suicide Squad feels disjointed. It's more than likely Deadshot, but the writers dedicated the same amount of time to his arc as they did for Harley Quinn, Waller, and Flags. Even in ensemble movies, you still need a main character. Reason number 24. At the end of these movies, there are no post-credit scenes. Although Marvel didn't create the end-credit scene trope, they're most known for it, so avoiding after-credit scenes is the DCEU's way of avoiding copying off Marvel. They broke that rule in Suicide Squad. Those are 24 reasons Suicide Squad is the worst DCEU movie. You agree? Yes, no, maybe so? If not, politely share your thoughts in the comment section below and click the subscribe button for more 24 reason videos. Hey guys, hope you liked this week's video. I did it because you guys liked the format I did Spider-Man Homecoming in. In the future, it's easier if I could incorporate your feedback and not just my opinion. I want to do 2 of these videos for where does Star Wars The Force Awakens rank against the prequels and the original trilogy. To vote, visit the link in the description to head over to our Facebook page and share your thoughts.
Best elevator music I've ever heard.